I think the time's come for there to be a new generation of Big Four members, and I see a lot of bands that are out there, and a lot of them are really good. But are there four? I don't know.
Well, it's a big night here on Loudwire Nights as we welcome an absolute legend to the show, a guy who has not just been part of the fabric of metal for more than 40 years, but who's helped create and shape that fabric. And now we're celebrating the final studio album from the band that he founded in 1983. Joining us tonight is the one and only Dave Mustaine. Dave, thank you so much for being here, man.
You're so welcome.
So you started Megadeth in 1983, released the debut album, Killing Is My Business and Business Is Good in 85, and fast forward now to 2026, we're talking about the 17th studio album for Megadeth and what will be the band's final studio album. The self-titled record is out on January 23rd. What runs through your head when you think about where you're at this moment and where you came from all those decades ago?
Well, there's a lot of things that run through my head, but I think as far as the music and everything is concerned, that's you know current in my life. Listening to what we just did and comparing it against the very earliest stages of Megadeth, there's so much I think life in the tracks as far as the guitar is concerned. Playing Megadeth music, it's kind of like a Chinese finger puzzle. Some of the riffs are a little difficult. Sometimes they border on being difficult to the point where it's not worth the complexity for the music. But there's a lot of bands that have music that's like that, and that's not really one of my particular tastes. When it gets too complicated, I can't figure it out.
Yeah. No, I get that. And then you got to think too, taking it to the stage, right? Like you might be able to master it in the studio, but then taking that to the stage and doing that in front of a crowd, that's a bit of a different experience too, I'm sure.
Yeah. Try taking one step while you're doing it too.
That's right, man. Oh, and singing at the same time sometimes, right?
Oh, there's that. There is
Yeah.
that.
Well, here we are, man. It's very obvious you've poured so much into this record. Not, just simply creating another Megadeth album, but I think really creating this monumental milestone that marks the end of this journey. And I think that's captured in a lot of ways, but you certainly close the book in a powerful, personal way with that final track, the appropriately titled "The Last Note." Was it difficult for you to record some of these songs, or even that one in particular, as it sort of just solidified the reality that this is it, this is the final album?
Yeah. We didn't make that decision until we were about halfway through the record, and the last note actually had different lyrics before we had talked about going out on top and not having the things that befall bands that keep them from maintaining their status as they go into that legacy stage of their career, if they're so lucky. Um, I I, uh, I think when we started that particular track, the lyrics were called "Jumpers," and it was about as a clip I saw on Vice, and it was about people jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge, and I was watching that, and I didn't think anything of it, and then I watched a guy climb over the rail, and I thought, what's that guy doing? And then he jumped, and I went, fuck! And I was shocked, Chuck. I was shocked
Yeah.
because that guy just committed suicide on film, and it's like a snuff flick.
Yeah.
And they showed several other people that jumped off there, and so I wrote the lyrics for that song. And then Timu, I went up to him and I said, hey, I want to show you the lyrics for Jumpers. And so I told him about it, and he looked at me like this. And I went, oh, fuck, I guess that's a little too heavy, huh? And so I said, you know what, I think I'll take another swing at the pinata. And I did, and that's when the last note came in. And it was really, it was cathartic to get those lyrics out because I've been trying to say this in a way that someone can understand my point of view, not just that it's I'm taking off and that I don't give that I don't care about how this is leaving our fans affected. I do care. I do care. It's bittersweet for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, I think that's why, man, as I listen to the last note, after the album
It's very
itself, but
sad.
that song is it's a powerful one for so many reasons, but
Yeah.
really letting all that soak in, it's like, man, yeah, this is, the last note, and it's really powerful.
You know, when I went to Europe earlier last year, we were out on the Disturbed tour, and we did our first interviews for the campaign. Honestly, one and two, and both guys, they were strapping guys. You know, they looked like they played hockey. I can't remember exactly where we were, but anemic they did not look, if you know what I mean. So the one guy said, I listened to the last note and I cried and I went, ugh. And then the next guy goes, yeah, I had tears in my eyes listening to that song, and I went, whoa. Maybe I'm onto something here with this song because I've always tried to make the songs connect you and me with our emotions, not our experiences, because it's the feeling. The feeling is what I care about. What were you feeling? Did it make you feel good? Did you feel scared? Were you angry? How angry were you? Were you mad? Were you fucking pissed? You know. And there's so many other different core emotions that I sing about, and I think on this record we got a lot of those out.
Yeah, no, you can tell, man, and what a record to do that on, right? The final studio album, and it's interesting to hear you say that, you really didn't come to that realization until halfway through making the album. Was that I mean, when that came to you, was that a relatively, and I don't want to use the word easy because you've already said it's bittersweet, so I understand that, but was it
You don't want to use
relatively
the word what?
simple? I don't want to use the word
You
easy
don't want to
because I
use the
know this
word
isn't
what?
easy. Easy.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Because I,
yeah,
I know it's not an easy decision. You've said it's bittersweet, but was it
yeah.
relatively simple for you when you kind of had that realization, like, no, I think this will be it.
Well, I've never second guessed myself so much in my life, but it's the motivator is physical. It's not like this is a crapshoot or um, playing pin the tail on the donkey. There's more to this, and sometimes I feel really great about the decision. Sometimes I feel sad.
Yeah.
So it's been kind of crazy.
Is there part of you that holds on to the never say never, or you feel pretty at ease that no, this will be it?
Oddly enough, Chuck, a lot of people have brought up a whole bunch of other bands that have said that they were going to retire, and their retirement tour carried on and on.
Yeah.
And that kind of thinking doesn't even cross my fucking mind, I gotta tell you. You
Yeah.
know, that's not the kind of guy I am. If I say, you know what, my hand's hurting and I don't know how much more of this I can take, and I talk with my management and we all say, you know what, on a good run, this may take us to a lot of the places that we've played, and that should take a couple years. And if the record is as successful as we hope it is, we're gonna go out on a bang, and that's what we've always wanted to do. And for Timu and Dirk and James, I wanted to assure them that these are going to be the best years of our lives because we play better than a lot of the bands that are out on tour nowadays. Not all of them, but we can hold our own against a lot of the bands that are out there, and we mix our set list up so we're always playing Megadeth catalog. We're not just playing the standards. We figure we have about maybe 8, 9, 10 standards that we should be playing every night, and then we really took a sideways look at that and said, you know what, we need to add more songs to this. So let's see if we can build on our set list. And we spent months and months on the last throughout the whole entire last year, and basically ever since Timu came in and joined Megadeth. And we know more songs now than any of the previous lineup, except for Glenn and Sean and Nick and Marty.
Well, and that's, I mean, just hearing you say that, what an incredible feeling that's got to be at this moment and to say these are going to be the best years of our lives. Like
Yeah,
that's like to be able to make that decision and then to do that. I mean, that's how you want to go out.
one would hope,
Yeah.
and the other thing, I saw this thing a long time ago, Chuck, where um, the police were playing someplace. I can't remember where it was. It might have been New Year's Eve or something. And they took their instruments off and handed it to the guys in U2, and it was really a legitimate passing of the torch. And I don't know who. If that time comes where I take my guitar off and I hand it to someone else, who that would be, but I think the times come for there to be a new generation of Big Four members, and I see a lot of bands that are out there, and a lot of them are really good, but are there four? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and as you do this, you're celebrating, and I use that word celebrating. I mean, you're celebrating this album, this moment in a really big way, not just with the album, but with this full
Yeah,
documentary, Megadeth Behind the Mask, and of course, you're on the road like a madman this year,
yeah,
celebrating
yeah.
celebrating the legacy, and like you've already said, learning more songs than you have in a long time. You're not really easing into this whole final album thing, are you, man?
Well, it's not because I don't want to play. It's because I'm. It's a challenge physically for me to do this. It's and when all is said and done, I'm gonna do like I said, and I'm gonna find who to pass the torch, complete the circle.
Yep.
I think it's really wonderful that we're getting to go right up into Canada with Anthrax and Exodus, because I love Gary, and he's been a friend of mine. I used to say that Scott was one of my oldest friends, but I forgot I met Gary before I met the guys in Anthrax. So, and Gary Holt and I are blood brothers. So, it's really it's going to be very. I don't want to say cathartic again, just enriching to
Yeah.
have some really good old friends around. You know,
Yeah.
hopefully,
No.
hopefully we'll all remember who each other is.
I love that, man. And yeah, just talking about these moments, man, and thinking about those friendships, those long friendships, and kind of things coming full circle. And you
Yeah.
know, I think a full circle moment is certainly Megadeth doing "Ride the Lightning" as this bonus track on the album, and you've talked about it a bit in the past, couple of months. But were you always thinking about doing this song?
No, when when we do albums, we got into this kind of groove where we would take a song from the past and do our version of it. And in the very beginning, it was it was These Boots Are Made for Walking, and then
Yeah.
um, we did I Ain't Superstitious, and I can't remember what the other one was we did in that area there. Because on the first album, I think we did Boots, right? Yeah. The second
And you
album,
you did Anarchy in the
on the
UK.
third album, on the third
Yeah,
album,
on the
right?
third album. Yeah.
And what did we do on the second album? That was Ain't Superstitious.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's right.
Okay. Okay. So, anyways, those songs were so different, and by the time we got to Anarchy, everybody had started showing up at our concerts, and we noticed there were a lot of punks there, and I loved punk rock because I was a surfer, and we would go down to the beach and get hammered and listen to the DKs or Dead or Fear,
Yeah.
or the Buzzcocks or the Dickies, or some of the obscure but popular punk bands at the time, and we would have the best fucking time. And I picked up some of that bug from the Sex Pistols when I started listening to them. So the whole Ride the Lightning thing, that was the beginning of my songwriting career. I had been learning how to play in the latter part of the 70s. So when the 80s came out, it was only punk rock and disco. And of course, there was pop rock, which was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
that was like the heaviest thing at the time. If you wanted to really, really be heavy, you had to listen to bands like REO Speedwagon. Ooh. Right? So, doing Ride the Lightning, it was kind of completing the circle, as you and I both have said earlier. And I think it's cool in so much as it's paying my respects to the band that I first went to the dance with. I've always had tremendous respect for James' guitar playing, and Lars's songwriting is really quite unorthodox and beautiful at the same time. So, when we started off together, I honestly didn't think we were going to last anyway, because there was just so much personality. But whether that was combustible or not, I still really respected those two guys, and I thought it would be cool to do another cover song on this last record. And then I was talking with my management, and they said, "Why don't you do Ride the Lightning?" And I said, "Well, then that would be my version of it, because I'm not going to do a cover song. I'll play it the way that we played it, and I'll speed it up a little bit, and we'll spice up the drum fills at the end, and maybe we'll spice up the solo and the rhythm section underneath it, on top of speeding the song up a little bit. Just make it, like how when we were doing those demos, there was this just hardcore aggression, and I think a lot of that was because of our living environments, and that we drank more than we ate.
Yeah. Well, I want to ask too, along with that, fans, a lot of fans know this. If you pick up the Target exclusive release of this album, there's another bonus track, or a different bonus track, a song called Bloodlust. And there isn't really any details out there about it, but online fans are speculating that it is also a cover, maybe from Body Count. Uh,
No, nope,
nope. All right.
no, it's an original song.
There we go.
Yeah, we went into the studio and we had these songs that we were planning on completing, and then picking once we got done with everything on what songs we wanted. Here, listen real quick, all right? So that's not Body Count.
No, that's not Body Count. That's great, man. Thank you for that. Well, that's great, man. Another surprise. I mean, you're doing it. You're just celebrating this in so many cool ways. I love it. And I mentioned lots of touring this year. I think as of right now, the final show of the year is in LA on September 26th. How far ahead are you letting yourself think right now? Or are you trying to stay in the moment and soak all this up?
I think we're trying to put all the pegs in their prospective holes so that we know what we're doing, and that we get the most out of our efforts because of the adversity that I'm facing. And I know one thing's for sure, that the fans, they empower me and the band, and we can't help but walk away from every show feeling like we could do this forever. It's just a matter of, can we? Can we really? It'd be great if there was some kind of crazy surgery or something in the future that I could try. But for now, I'm not going to let anybody fuck around with my hands.
Yeah. And
Right.
like you talked about earlier too, this is your decision and you're making it, and I think
Yeah.
that's a huge part of all of this. Thank you so much for the time, and congrats on everything. Especially this final studio album for Megadeth. Listeners, get the album, get tour dates, everything you need at Megadeth.com. We'll always keep you posted at Loudwire too. But Dave, it's a sincere privilege to share some time with you, and if we get the chance to do this again, man, I hope we can make it happen.
Thanks, Chuck. Where are you located at?
I'm in Kansas City.
Kansas City. Well, I tell you what, when we come there next time, please find me and we'll have a cup of coffee or a beer and we'll pick up where we left this conversation off. And you got it on tape, so there's no questions. Just let us know what show you're going to want to come to, and we'll accommodate you.
All right, thank you. I'll definitely take you up on that. And Dave, I hope these are the best years of your life, man.
Thanks. Thank you, Chuck. I appreciate that.
Thank you for the time.
Cheers, buddy.